Today we're going to do some landscape color fields. In this particular case, they're going to be seascape color fields. So this is a pretty enjoyable and fun assignment, I think. One of my favorite things to photograph is sunrise or sunset. So this morning I took this one at the ocean. You can see it was a little overcast, but this is the first one I'm going to do today. And then I pulled a few other ones that I've taken in the past, so I'll just show you those. So you really you want to kind of get some nice color variants, but really kind of the fun of this is kind of seeing how it turns out. It's kind of unexpected and just kind of addictive once you get started with these. So the first thing I'm going to do is fit to screen, and again, this is only a few steps, very simple. So the first step is you're going to go to your filter menu, and we're going to do this destructively, so I'm not going to convert it or anything. We're going to do filter, blur, motion blur. And because I've done them before today, my settings are already there, but you're going to put your angle on 0 so that your lines are completely horizontal, perfectly even. And then your distance, I cranked the whole way up on 2000 pixels. You could do a little less than this, but somewhere around there is what you're going to want to do. Click OK. And then the next step is to go to your adjustment panel. Remember, these are non-destructive adjustments when we use our adjustment panel. I'm going to click on our hue saturation adjustment, and I'm going to bump our saturation up slightly. I'm just going to do this by eyeballing it. You don't want to overdo it too much so that it looks completely fake, but you just want to pop the color in the image. And then from there, I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. So pretty simple, pretty easy. And then save. Now for our next one, we're going to do the same steps. So filter, blur, motion blur. Once you've done the first one, your motion blur settings should be already set for you. Then go to your adjustment panel, click on your hue saturation, bump up your saturation to your liking, and then save. Here's my third one, filter, blur, blur, motion blur. Okay. Go to my adjustment panel, hue saturation. These are non-destructive adjustments. Amp up my saturation and save. Now the last one I'm going to do, you can do this also using an image that has a person in it, or in this case there's a surfer. So this I took a long time ago on a DSLR camera. The other ones I believe were on cell phones. Not 100%, but I know at least today's was. So this was taken on a DSLR camera a while ago. So we're going to use the same steps, we're just going to do it slightly differently this time, because this time I'm going to first kind of do a loose selection around our surfer and just kind of the wave around him. I'm going to clean it up. I'm on my quick selection tool. You could use whatever selection tool you want. I'm going to clean it up. Then I'm just toggling back and forth from plus to minus using the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on a PC. Okay, and then I'm going to inverse the selection. So I'm going to do select inverse. So I'm selecting everything except that little patch I initially selected. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a non-destructive filter. The previous 3 I was doing destructive filters when I did the blur. This time I'm going to do a non-destructive. So I'm going to do filter, convert for smart filters. Okay. There you can see that it's now a smart object. Remember, anything smart is non-destructive. And then we're going to do our steps again. Filter, blur, motion blur. 0 for my angle, 200 for my distance for pixel, or 2000 for my pixels, and then click OK. Now, in this case, I am going to go to my adjustment panel, and I'm going to do my same hue saturation. Again, another non-destructive edit. Because the colors were so muted in this one, I am going to amp them up a little more than I have been. And now I'm going to go and click on my Smart Filter thumbnail right here. And I'm going to grab my brush tool. And using a soft edge brush, meaning my hardness is on 0, using black, I'm going to kind of clean up my selected area a little bit. I'm going to switch back and forth from white to black. I'm going to take away a little bit more down here, meaning it's going to expose my smart filter. I'm going to come in, make my brush smaller, come in under him a little bit. Now I'm going to zoom in closer to do this part so I can be a little more precise. When we use a soft edge, it is more forgiving. If I wanted to be real precise, I could come in here with a hard edge brush. And I'm just gonna try to, so it's kind of just your preference then, how you want it to look. But basically I wanted to keep a little bit of the wave and him in focus, and then apply that motion blur to the rest of it. And then I'll save it once I get it how I like it, and that's that.